Music is life to me. In the midst of the pandemic, one of the sections that got the biggest hit was music. Not just music, gospel music. The higher tier gospel artists got hit and survived. However, the smaller musicians got the biggest hit, along with session musicians, and I am one of them. After having private conversations with a few musician friends of mine, and some of them were struggling with their mental health, and I myself was struggling. I wanted to find a way to help, but I didn't know how. I had an idea to turn the original idea, which was a TV show, to a web series into a podcast. I asked myself, how can I monetize? And how would the musicians benefit? Some of the musicians, like me, have been trying to find funds to finish their projects to bless others. Now, with the situation that we are currently in, artists can't go to a music studio like before. They now have to build one. Music, for some of these musicians, are their livelihoods, and a few have jobs. At one point, I didn't know what to do, but with much prayer, I asked God for wisdom, and I was reminded, what is in your hand? And I remembered, I have a background in broadcasting. Now, what's the vision of the podcast? The vision is to share the journey of the artist and raise awareness to their story, music, and ministry. How will they benefit from the podcast? The plan is to set up a public playlist via Spotify, YouTube, to create an additional awareness to their music. Plus, having listeners listening to the podcast or downloading the podcast by persons listening to the podcast, ads and commercial allows the podcast to create a revenue stream to donate to those artists on the show. Listening on demand exclusive mini concerts creates even a higher revenue for the musicians from Patreon. With just $5 a month, donations will be sent to those artists. What I realize is that this is bigger than me, and I can't do this alone. At this time, I created a street team / ambassador, and our goal is to have 500 persons on the team to have their own 200 persons within the group of 500. The goal is to reach 200,000 listeners or downloads per episode. I believe this is very possible, though the number is high. With 500 persons having 200 people each is very possible. We have to ask persons not just to post, but to connect with those persons directly that has an influence. In addition to friends, family, youth groups, churches, just to name a few. I believe with this strategy, it helps the podcast a long way, especially the musicians involved, to promote sharing the importance of the show and its purpose. If you want more information or you have any questions, you can shoot me a question via Instagram, which is at Shaylinton Music 2.0, Shaylinton Music 2.0. Thank you for your prayers, your support, and being a part of this movement.